everyone. This is Vicki Harrell, Executive Director of QATC, the Quality Assurance and Training Connection. And welcome to our final session of the QA and Analytics Week for our WFO virtual conference. Hope you've enjoyed all the sessions you've been to this week, and we have really enjoyed putting it on for you, and hope you've gotten some great information. All right, so here is our topic today. We're going to talk about surveys and QATC. Here's a little bit about me before we get into this. So I am the Executive Director of both QATC and SWPP. SWPP is focused on workforce planning in the contact center. And so Sherry said she'd mention this, but next week is all about WFM and performance management. So if you have somebody in your organization in those roles, let them know about next week's conference. They can go out to ecrmevents.com and sign up for that. I say over 20 years in the contact center industry because I'm never going to go over 20 years. If you come back in 10 years, it's still going to say over 20 years in the contact center industry. Just can't go any higher than that. I like to talk a lot, as you can tell, and I love talking about all contact center topics. QATC, a little bit about us. We're a membership association that is designed specifically for QA and training folks in the contact center. We do all sorts of great benefits for you. We do email tips of the week. You can go out to the QATC website and log in and see all our previous surveys and tips and newsletters and articles and all sorts of great information out there. We do a quarterly newsletter, and it's mailed to anyone in QATC who gives us their mailing address. We do regional networking meetings, but we haven't done them in a while. Nobody has really wanted to have a group of people in their contact center since COVID. So we're hoping maybe in 2024 that'll work again. We have a Fundamentals of Quality Assurance web seminar series that we present each year, and Deely Freeman is the person who presents those, and if you know Deely, you know how amazing she is. We also do other educational web seminars throughout the year. You can post any open positions that you have on the job posting board if you are a member. And then you also get a discount to our QATC annual conference. And the dates for 2024 are September 17th through 19th. It's always in Nashville. So here's today's agenda. So we're going to show you some survey questions and results from QATC surveys. Don't know why that couldn't come out. And we're talking about it in three different areas: QA forms, calibration, and rewards and recognition. QATC surveys every quarter on different topics, and if you respond to the survey, you get a copy of the full results, and partial results are printed in our newsletter, The Connection. Usually we don't have room to print everything in there. And then one person who responds to the survey every time gets a free one-year membership. So if you're on our mailing list, or you would like to be on your mailing list, you can send me a note, and I'll be happy to add you to the mailing list. But then you would get a link to fill out the survey every quarter. So let's start out. So what we're going to do is we're going to start talking about quality monitoring forms, and we have just some specific questions from surveys that we've done. I'm going to show you the options, and I want you to respond in the chat with what your answer is, and then I'm going to show you the results from the actual survey and give a little bit more information on it. So for quality monitoring forms, the question I want you to answer for me is, how many items do you have on your quality form? Do you have 1 to 10, 11 to 20, 21 to 30, or more than 30? And Alexa is very specific. She has 12. Oh, goodness. Sue's got 21 to 30. I think that's the only one I've seen so far. Oh, and Ruby's got more than 30. Isabel, 19. Oh, Mary's at 13. Okay, so I've only really seen a couple that, oh, and then Diane's getting more specific. 8 major areas with about 25 plus sub-questions and LOEs, 10 with subcategories, 20 questions, and then 4 sub-questions. Okay, so let's look and see what the survey said. So in the survey, it looks like the biggest group here, 50% of them had 11 to 20 questions on their quality evaluation form. There were 22% that had 1 to 10, and 21% that had 21 to 30, and then more than 30 was only 7%. So the thing that we talk about in QATC is that if it's more than a page, no matter how many questions are on it, it's really hard to get through, right? And then especially when you start doing calibration. I know we want to ask everything, but sometimes it's too hard to ask everything. Let me ask you this. Do you feel like you have too many questions on your forms? Anybody feel like they have too many questions? Cassidy says yes. A couple of yeses. Chandra says no. A couple of no's. Again, and Sophie feels like it's not enough, and Sue feels like they have too many sub-questions. The key here is that you have to have a number that you can get through when you do calibration. So you have to be careful that you just don't have so much that you'll never get through it. It makes some of the questions meaningless if you can't get through them. All right, so let's ask this question after Amy says she revised theirs last year. How often is your form updated? And is it every 6 months, once a year, every 1 to 5 years, or every time your business changes, or is there another answer? Amy says before that it was years that she did it. Cassidy says every couple years, 1 to 5 years, once a year, or as business needs. 1 to 5 or when business dictates. Every year, but nothing has been changed in years. Haven't updated ours in 5+ years. This year will be the first time in 5 years. Need to update. Form now was rebuilt this spring. 1 to 5 years. So let's see what the survey said. So the survey had, the biggest one was once a year at 33%. 26% was every time our business changes. 22% was 1 to 5 years. Every 6 months was 6%, and other was 13%. And other at this point may have meant we haven't done it. So, you know, I see a lot of you saying, you know, that you haven't updated it even though you've looked at it. The thing here is if your business changes, you do need to update it, and you need to make sure that you look at it and see, is there anything on there that doesn't make sense anymore? And just back to the number of items on it, you need to balance the focus on the most important qualities of the contact and get enough detail to make sure that coaching is okay. But, you know, too few items make it difficult to make sure what the root cause is of problems, and you don't have enough coachable content. But too many can waste time and dilute the importance of the critical things. So back to the how often you do it, I think it really makes sense to look at it every year and just see if nothing needs to be updated, that's okay. But at least look at it to see if anything should be different. All right, do you have a scoring scheme for your QA form? Is it yes, no? Is it a score scale, 1 to 5? Is it a pass, fail? Is it a don't score, you don't score at all? Or do you have another type of scoring scheme for your QA form? All right, looks like we're getting yes, no's so far. Some are yes, no, some are 1 to 5. Got a score scale. Yes, no, with 2 auto-fail categories. We didn't really talk about auto-fail in here, but that's something else we can talk about if somebody's interested in it. Looks like several people have a combo, and then Roxanne has a free form to specify the score. Every question could be different. Yes, no, and a couple of auto-fail questions. All right, let's look at the survey results. In this, yes, no is the largest category again. The score scale is next, pass, fail is next, and then at the bottom, we do not score forms. So I didn't see anybody on here, if it went by really fast, I might have missed it, that said that they do not score. Not seeing anything as I go back through here. All right, so let's talk a little bit about this. So some people in the industry really do argue over this scoring versus non-scoring. And some people say that things like when you get to excellent or meets requirements or needs improvement are helpful, especially when you're talking to new hires. They talk about it's challenging to calibrate with those scale scores, and depending on how wide they are, I think 1 to 5 is probably the best out of those. I mean, if you've got 1 to 10 or 1 to 20, it's really hard to calibrate that. But soft skills and things like that are really hard to put a number on. You know, it's just really hard to say what number makes sense when you're talking about tone of voice or things like that. So those of you who are doing different scoring options on the form may have something going for you there. But there are people out there who are not scoring at all, and they're taking the focus off those numbers and putting emphasis on what text is provided to support their coaching efforts. Have you found that if somebody is going towards a number, like if you have a number you want them to get to, that they work hard to get to that particular number and maybe not more than that number? And Sue says they went to partially achieved, and not achieved. Okay. So it is important here at the bottom to keep in mind that the QA evaluation purpose is to evaluate the agents and have something that you can work with to coach them, and then make sure that the data you're getting and the process that you use support that purpose. And Isabel says, yes, our reps get just enough to get their bonus. They know what that number is. They know what that number is and what they need to get to. All right, any other things on scoring schemes? All right, do you have a quality standards definitions document? Yes, no, or not yet. We're developing one. Oh, looks like we got a lot of yes. Okay, Jessica says yes mostly. Then we got a couple of no's in there. We got a not yet. And yes, as well as interpreting the scorecard document. Okay. Looks like most everybody does have a QSDD. And here's the survey results. 87% of the people who responded to the survey did have a quality standards definitions document. 12% said not yet, but they're developing one, and 1% said no. So if you don't have clear definitions of what you expect on each item on the QA form, it's very hard for your agents to know exactly what they need to do to be successful, and it's hard for your evaluators to know exactly what they're looking for to be successful. It also helps you in coaching if you can provide examples when you're doing these coaching sessions to improve their performance. Sometimes it's really hard for them to know, exactly what you're looking for. So if you can give them examples, it's really helpful. Oh, and that's good, Cassidy. They hover over the checkbox to get an explanation of exactly what's expected. And then Amy says they have definitions and example phrasing because they don't have a lot of scripting. All right, great. So if you don't have a quality standards definitions document, I think it's a great thing to have in your toolbox, and we have information on the website about QSDDs, so we'd love to share that with you if you're interested. Now, this one is always fun. How objective do you feel your quality form is? Is it completely objective? Is it somewhat objective? Is it about half and half? Is it mostly subjective, and is it completely subjective? Are we thinking about it? Because the answers aren't coming in quite as fast as before. I love that there are people out there who feel like it is completely objective. That is fabulous. And even somewhat objective is really good. Completely objective, however, QAs can be subjective. I like that too. A bit more than somewhat objective, but not completely. All right, so let's look at the survey results. 56% said that their form was somewhat objective. 26% said completely. 16% said about half and half, and 2% said mostly subjective. We didn't have anybody who thought somewhat subjective on this particular survey. And just as Jade says, it's a bit difficult in her estimation to 100% eliminate subjectivity. So what I'm saying here, it is hard to achieve a completely objective set evaluation items. Our quality monitoring program in general and the feedback that we give to agents is so critical to the development of those agents and achieving customer satisfaction. But it's really hard to calibrate and harder to explain the scores to the agents if the question can have a score that varies depending on who did the evaluation. And we know that happens. We do. But golly, we just got to keep trying with calibration. People say, can I calibrate for a year and stop? No, you can't stop. You just got to keep going and try to get as close as you can to make sure that everybody who is scoring is getting the same result. All right, so let's move on to calibration. Since we've been talking about calibration in here in general, let's talk about it specifically and ask you, how frequently do you calibrate? Do you do it once a week? Do you once every 2 weeks? Do you once a month? Do you do it once a quarter? Or do you not calibrate at all? Or did I not put the right answer up there? So tell me what you got. Okay. Started out with Jessica, doesn't have calibration, and we got once a month, once a quarter, once every 2 weeks, trying for once a month. No calibrations, never enough. Every other month, once a week, once a month, daily. Wow, James. Just beginning once a month, calibrate every 2 weeks globally, all on the same one call. Weekly with QA, weekly with new hires, 2 times a week with managers, once a month. Diane, 2 weeks globally, all on the same call, then separate specialty calibrations for smaller teams. All right, let's look and see what the survey said. Once a month, was way above the rest. And then once a quarter, once a week, we're about the same, and about the same as we don't do calibrations. And once every 2 weeks was a small amount, other was a small amount, something I didn't put out there. So we all know that we bring our own thoughts and biases into scoring, right? When we come into the room, we know what we think is right, and so we need to calibrate. We need to ensure that the results between the people who are listening to these calls are similar to make sure that everything is fair. The size of the operation can affect the frequency of the calibration processes. We know that. We've got a ton of people in the room. Sometimes it's a lot harder to do, but it also may be best to have those more frequently to make sure that we are coming up to more of a consensus. For those of you who are not doing calibrations, are you thinking about it? Are you, is it something that's on your roadmap? Again, it's something that, on our radar. It's something that will help you in the long run to make sure that all of your agents know what they need to be doing and they're all getting the same result. All right, any questions on the frequency of calibrations? Because now we're going to talk about who attends the calibration sessions. So I've got a bunch of names of titles up here, and then I have an all of the above, and then I have other. So if you kind of want to put in there who comes, QA analysts, frontline supervisors, trainers, team leads, agents, all of the above, or other. And it may take a while, if you're putting a bunch of them in, it may take a while to get some answers in there. QA specialists and team managers, QA analysts and managers, team leads and supervisors. For our old system, QA analysts and team leads, QA supervisors, QA analysts, and we got an all of the above. Analysts, frontline supervisors, agents, looking to add trainers soon. QAs and trainers, management eliminated supervisors from monitoring. QA and agents, team leads when necessary. Occasionally senior managers and directors, like that especially. So why is it important to have all these people in the room? We'll just look at this at the results real quick. QA analysts, frontline supervisors were the most, with trainers and team leads next, agents and other. Why is it important to have all these people in the room? If anybody who's doing QA scoring and coaching, we need to include them in the sessions, along with anybody else that's going to benefit from the information shared in these sessions, including agents. And sometimes it's hard to include agents. Sometimes HR doesn't want you to include agents. But if they can hear the process, they might buy in more. You know, I mean, if they can hear what's going on, and if they can see how you struggle to answer all these questions and come up with an answer that makes sense for everybody and that everybody is working hard for success, then I think that goes a long way toward them giving buy-in to your QA program. Cassie said if we include advocates, they would just do their best to get rid of the audit process. You know, we just really wanted them to know we're being fair and that what we're doing in the process. We want to be transparent. So, all right, how many calls do you review in one calibration session? Is it 1, is it 2, 3, 4, 5, or is it more than 5? Sophie's got the most so far with 5. Most everybody is 1 to 2. Destiny's 4. Oh, Mandy, as we aim for 6, but sometimes only get through 2 to 3. Depends on the length. Maybe not the best approach, but it does depend on the length. All right, let's look at the results here. Almost half the people only do 2 calls, and that's 46%. 26% do 3 calls, 14% do 1 call. Only 3% are more than 5, and then 5 and 4% are 5 and 6%. So 5 calls and 4 calls are 5 and 6%. So what makes you do more or less calls? Well, the average handle time of the call is going to make a difference. So if you listen to the call in the session, for one thing, it's going to matter how long you have to listen to that call, and all the information that's going to be included in that call is going to be more if your average handle time is higher. And then how long is your calibration session? You know, if you're meeting for 30 minutes, you're not going to get through much. If you're meeting for an hour, you might get through more. Some people can't meet more than an hour, but some people don't have time to meet for more than an hour. So looking at the average handle time and the length of your calibration session is really going to tell you how many calls you can normally do. But you do need to provide a reasonable sample of different types of calls. And Sue says they do a customer service call and an emergency call. Mandy says they schedule 90 minutes. And then Isabel says we focus on one criteria for both calls, and that still takes 1 hour most times and you go over. So here's the next question. What can you do to make your calibration sessions more effective? And this is something we asked on the survey, and I want you to think about it a minute and put your information in the chat. The people in the survey said they would hold sessions more often. They would include the agents. Measure the process. That's one thing I didn't ask, but it has been on our surveys is, are you measuring standard deviation or some other measurement to see if you're getting less variation in the scoring? But a lot of people do use standard deviation. They also said that they would correlate quality with customer satisfaction. We asked that question as well. It's really important if you have the customer satisfaction data to see if a call that's getting 100 on a quality score is also getting a great customer satisfaction score. Because if it's not, then you're measuring the wrong things, right? Be sure that all stakeholders attend, and I know that's hard because not everybody can come every time. And then ensuring that participants review the calls prior to the session. Sometimes if you come in there cold, the session's going to take forever because you haven't had time to think about it. Let's look over here in the chat. Measure the process, ensure participants review the calls and measure variation. Provide the contact IDs ahead of time. Have everyone listen to and score the calls ahead of time. Hold sessions more often. Ensure all review and score the call prior. Correlate quality with customer satisfaction. And Etsy says that's the biggest challenge on our end. I'm not sure what I said that made you type that, but there's so many things that we can do to make the calibration sessions more effective. But you really have to think about it and think about, you know, when you're calibrating now, what could you do to make it better? And hold more sessions, review more interactions, involve agents, and a lot more time. Currently, we get 15 to 30 minutes max. Oh, no, that's really hard, Danielle. And participants pre-listening to the call from Patsy. Yep. Right, anything else on that? We're going to move on if we don't have anything else. We're going to move on to rewards and recognition. So this is going to be another one where I want you to type a lot of stuff in the chat. What rewards do you use in your contact center? And I have listed multitude of them here. And anything that you use, if you put it in there, gift cards, company merchandise, food and beverage, whether it's a pizza party or something like that. They go into a prize drawing. They get a handwritten note from their manager. They get time off phones, which workforce management may be unhappy about. They get a plaque or a sign that they can put in their cubicle or in their home office. Tickets to sporting events or plays or anything like that. Do they get a trophy that they can display? Can they participate in additional classes or events that your company might have? You give them gift cards for personal services like spas or massages. Do they get their choice of schedule? Or what have I left out here? So you guys have written a bunch of stuff here in the chat. I'm going to scroll back up. And then I'm probably going to ask you guys to give me some more information about some of these because they sound really good. Time off phones, which everybody wants. Gift cards, quarterly bonus, gift cards, incentive program, kindness corner. Now, Mary, tell me what a kindness corner is. Amy, gift cards and extra hour off. Chaka gives company swag, monthly bonus for meeting, QA, and attendance. Notes from manager and quarterly bonus, 15 minutes of time, personalized handwritten note and candy, gift cards, food, appraisal on Teams, kudos posted on our intranet, gift cards, company merchandise and food, company merchandise and gift cards, notes from manager and recognition on our company intranet since most are remote. I think a lot of this has changed since we've gone remote. Emails to managers and advocates, extended lunches. Ooh, I hadn't heard that one very much, Cassie. That's a good one. Early out, unpaid. Food, company swag, leave early, come in late. Quarterly bonus. Prio schedule ranking. Pay for performance, bonuses and higher ratings. Kindness corner, if an agent received a customer compliment, heard in monitoring. Oh, okay, great. So if you look at this list, for you personally, do you see something that would motivate you to do better? And let's put that in the chat. What would motivate you to do a better job if you received that reward? Monetary anything, gift cards and sporting events, monetary, personal services, money, paid time off, a raise, money, paid time off, company merchandise because they have nifty swag, time off, paid time off, money, training. Oh, James, I like that. Money or any equivalent, time off the phone, gift cards, raises, gift cards, massage, paid time off, PTO or a raise too, money, job shadowing. Didn't have that on the list. That's great, Ruby. An extra percentage in your 401k. Ooh, I like that too. So as we look at all this, what are we noticing about what would motivate us? Mary says a note from a manager. What are a couple of things you notice about what would motivate us? Money talks. That's right. A lot of it is money. But not everybody is motivated by the same thing. While a lot of us said money, some people said other things. And Jessica, I think you're right. Ultimately, people just want to be appreciated. Eloise, results vary. Danielle, you just said it. Everyone is motivated differently, and we need to learn what makes our teams tick and reward individually to see the results we want. That is so true, because if you give me a quarterly bonus that I have to think about, for the whole quarter instead of handing me a gift card, I think I'd rather have the gift card. Or if you're going to put a plaque or a sign in my office, I might rather have time off the phone. I definitely don't think that participation in additional classes or events is for me, but I would like schedule choice. But what we are so focused on is we need a reward. But what we need is a reward that is specific to our employee. And that's something that somebody who's close to that person, their team leader, may be the person that we need to say, I want to know for every person on your team what rewards are going to be most important to them. And they're the people who know them, right? They know that they have a child in daycare that they have to work around. So schedule choice may be the most important thing. They may know that that person's going through a really hard time, and money is going to be the only thing that's going to motivate them. It may be that a note from a manager may mean more to that person than anything else. It may be that recognition among their peers may be the most exciting thing that has ever happened to them, but for somebody else, recognition from their peers is going to make them feel so embarrassed. But we need to know that, right? We need to know what it is about each person. And Amy says, without a tracking nightmare, but if you do it by team and the team leader is the person who keeps that information, I think that's a little bit easier to deal with. So we've talked a lot about this slide. Let me move on and talk about the rewards that we got on our survey results. And it looks like gift cards were the number one there, and followed by company merchandise, food and beverage, entry into a prize drawing, note from manager, and then we go down a little bit with other, and then time off phones is not used as much. Plaques or signs, probably not used much anymore because of all the remote folks that are out there now. Event tickets, trophy, participation in classes, personal services, and then schedule choices at the very bottom there of what people are actually using. Cassidy says, we give a half day off with pay but never a full day off. And Sue says, some like a day off around the holidays. I love that. And Sue, if you are limited by budget, something like that is easy. There was this little girl who worked in a call center in Goose Creek, South Carolina. And she was a WFM person. But what she did that it just warmed my heart. Everybody had a little mailbox on their desk. And if she saw somebody doing something right, she would handwrite a note to that person and tape a little piece of candy on it and put it in their mailbox. I saw you were in your seat on time today. Or, I saw you went to break on, something like that that was important to WFM. But how easy is that? Just a quick little note, handwritten note saying, I saw you doing the right thing, and I really appreciate it. So let's go on and talk about a couple of other things about rewards and recognitions. Do your agents have a choice of the reward that they receive? Or do they just get what they get? And no, but a kind of, and a yes options are provided, and they get what they get. Our agents can choose or give a list of options, and then there's sometimes. So Michelle and Shelby and Sue, what is sometimes? When would sometimes be? And Danny says out of our control. That's true. And let's see what people are saying about why it would be sometimes. In the survey, again, 67% of them said no, they don't have a choice. They get what they get. And yes is 33%. Okay, Amy says, gift card, but limited options, an hour off can be taken anytime, coordinated with workforce. Thank goodness you're saying coordinated with workforce. And Sue, depends since we have different incentives. And they get okay, and Michelle says they get their choice of a gift card. Okay. So even if we just had a short list of possible rewards, it could be helpful in matching the reward to the specific agent. And, you know, the value of any gift is in the eyes of the receiver, and maybe they don't know that at the top, right? Maybe they don't know that it might make a difference if they provided a few different things and had the option for the agent to choose a few different things. So maybe we bring this up. And Sue did say there was some sort of tax issue that happened with their gift cards. And Shaka said the same thing. It ended up being a tax issue for the company, something about having to pay taxes on this. So, oh, it said the company had to pay taxes on them earlier, and now they're saying that the, yeah. Huh. That is something new to me. I don't know that I hadn't heard that there were some tax implications with the gift card. So, okay. All right, here's our last question. Oh, it counts as employee income. Our team and budget are small, the taxes are not an issue. It is added as income for us. Okay. What are would you say are the effectiveness of the reward system in your organization? Is it excellent? The rewards that you are giving definitely shape behaviors. Is it good? There is some correlation between rewards and performance improvements. Is it fair? Rewards are somewhat effective in shaping performance. Or poor, little correlation between the reward programs and performance. So I'm seeing some fairs and some poors and some goods and some fairs. I have not seen an excellent in there. Cassidy's fair right now, but I'm hoping to change that soon. I love it. Brittany says fair. I feel like those motivated are the same. Those not motivated will not push. I agree that too. Michael says excellent at being poor. Okay. Amy says fair tied to team performance, but our team is pretty great already. So again, I have not seen an excellent out here. So looks like we have a little bit of work to do with that. So in our survey, only 9% said excellent, 38% said good and fair, and 15% said poor. And I like that you guys were honest about it, you know. And, oh, Amy, it's more of a morale booster than a performance driver. Well, that can be as well. So I'm going to ask you too, and here's something that I asked the survey participants. What was your most effective rewards program? Was it, and this is just what they responded with, and so you respond with what you think your most effective rewards program has been. Somebody said contests with gift card rewards, the higher dollar value had the most impact. And somebody said, honestly, we haven't seen rewards have much impact. I think you guys have been talking about that, too, over here in the chat. Good performers stay at the top. and poor performers tend to stay at the bottom. And Mary says overachievers will achieve repeatedly. Agree with Brittany. Agents who receive 100% quality scores were placed in a drawing for 4 hours of PTO. With that one, I mean, it may have been effective for the company that did it, but to be put in a drawing for something, and something as kind of small as 4 hours of PTO may not have motivated me. A combination of monetary rewards with national industry recognition, corporate profit sharing. We haven't really talked about profit sharing. Somebody else mentions that the incentives need to be changed often to keep them from being taken for granted or forgotten. This was another one that was a specific type. They earned wow tickets for part or all of an interaction, and then they were entered into drawings. And then somebody else said, we don't have any budget, but some supervisors are providing rewards out of their own pockets. Sounds like teachers to me. So let me look and see what you guys are saying over here in the chat. PTO, early out and extended lunches, early release, bravo. It rewarded employees in all aspects of the company with multiple titles. And Ruby, you might say, tell us what kind of rewards there were. Leave early, in late. Personalized recognition has helped to strengthen existing good behaviors. And Shaka, what kind of personalized recognition? Is that one-on-one? Is that notes? Mary says, the incentives we use do not have much impact, but I think it'd be more effective if we focused on what the agents would really like. Michelle, annual bonus. Sue, entered into a drawing for pick a day off or schedule. Anyone offer vacations? Asking for a friend. I would do it for a vacation, depending on where it's to, I guess. Danielle says she does a lot of reward recognition out of her own pocket. So there you go. Gift card or job shadowing. Michael says at a former company we had Dutch auctions where we gave out raffle tickets and they could choose which prize they wanted to put their ticket in. I'm not sure I know what a Dutch auction is. If you want to give me some more information about that. But I do like Brittany's option of vacations. I guess if you give them a vacation, they have to take time off too, though. So I don't know about that. You need to talk to workforce management and see if they're going to let them have a vacation before you give them a trip somewhere. So, but you know, guys, really the most effective one is the one that you see some sort of change from, right? You see people's scores improving. You see them trying more. Again, I did see on here the good performers are going to keep performing and getting better, and then other people are not. And maybe we have to focus on those top performers, but maybe we could try with the lower performers and talk to them specifically and say, you know, what would be something that we could offer that would be valuable to you, and see if anything changes. And yeah, some people are just not motivated by anything. Some people are there for the 8 hours and they're done, and it doesn't matter what we do. It is what it is. So, and for some, it will never be enough. That's right. So, all right. Well, that is all I had for today. I know you've had a long week with lots of great information shared. I hope you've gotten something out of what we've talked about today. If you want to get on our list to get newsletters and to get on our list to be asked if you want to participate in a survey, you can just send me an email. Oh, Michael says, Dutch auction is when you have multiple prizes and people can choose which one they'd like to win. Okay. And if you want to go out to our website, check it out. Go out to our booth, too. Again, you'll see survey results in the booth and what you would get if you participated in a survey. We'll have newsletters in there with all sorts of great information. If there's some topic today that you had specific questions about, whether it was the QSDD or calibration, we have lots of articles and things like that that we can share with you if that would be helpful. But wanted to just share some information and show what other people are doing, because sometimes we're in our own little bubble, right? Sometimes we work within our organization and the way things work within our organization, and we don't really know how other people do things. So sometimes it's really important to look at how other people do things and see if that might be a fit for our organization. So thanks to everybody. I didn't mention this at the top of this session, but you have been to other sessions, I'm sure. The top 2 people who chat the most will be given a gift card, and hopefully that was enough to get everybody motivated. That was the right motivator for you guys to chat today, because you guys have done a great job today with giving information in the chat. So we really appreciate that. We're done for this week, and starting next week we'll be focusing on WFM and performance management. The booths will be open through next week and probably through the following week. Sherry, tell me if I'm saying something out of turn here. And we will also have the session materials and the session recordings up for a week after the conference. And if you want, like, this particular session survey results, you might want to share that with other people in your organization just to show them the survey results that you saw today. So, Sherry, is there anything else that I've missed? The recordings will be up for 14 days. Okay. It's been a great week.
Everything's up for 2 weeks. We may even, depending on the traffic, we may even keep them up until Thanksgiving. So we'll see the kind of activity it gets. But that's plenty of time if there's others in your organization that you want to be able to watch any of the sessions. Maybe they weren't aware of the conference. This gives them plenty of time to do that and watch everything. Now, to see those recordings, you have to log in. Otherwise, it'll look like they're not there. So if you log in and go to Agenda, you'll see the recording and the PDF of the slides. All the slides are up the day of the event, so you can always grab the slides before you even come into a session.
All right. Well, we have had some wonderful sessions this week, and I'm glad you've been with us. I hope you'll share them with other people in your organization. And if you want your WFM folks to come next week, make sure you let them know to go to ecrmevents.com and sign up for next week. Next week, we've got great sessions as well, and I'm going to end the week next week with Workforce Management Jeopardy. So it should be a fun last session next week. So thank you guys so much for all your participation this week and all your participation today. Sherry, any last words?
I don't have any last words. For those of you that have been sitting through some of these sessions, tomorrow we will let you know who are the gift card winners for the chatting. We've been calculating those. We want to send them all out on the same day. So we will send you those notices. So look for those in your email.
And again, surveys are really important, so make sure that you are filling out the surveys and giving us the feedback so we can plan for next year. So have a great rest of your day, everybody. It's been so much fun to be with you this week, and hope you have a great rest of your week. Talk to you soon. Thanks, everybody.